Hi friends, Tracy here. This is our second card for the card class in the mail, Golden Greenery Bundle, or the Seasons of Green and Gold Suite. We are using some Mossy Meadow and Old Olive ink, which has been pretty much the mainstay for all four cards. We've also have our kit ready to go. Now there is garden green cardstock. We have very vanilla cardstock for the front and the inside layer. We have, I've already cut down my vellum pieces, and they actually measure 3 by 3 and 3.5 by 2 inches. We have a piece of basic white thick for our stamping, which is 4.5 by 4 inches. We also have, what else do we have? I've got a couple of labels here that have cut from Old Olive and Mossy Meadow. Now you'll find them already die cut in your kit. And then you'll have a piece of gold foil that you can die cut your bell from the Golden Greenery bundle. Okay, just quickly, the very vanilla cardstock, the card layer for the front is 4 by 5 3/4. The inside layer is 3 3/4 by 5.5. Okay, so I have all my measurements. They are all on that PDF as well, so you know that you can go over there and grab that. So we're going to stamp our inside layer with that little pine branch. And we're going to stamp the solid image in Old Olive and the more detailed image in Mossy Meadow. And we're going to stamp that on the bottom right hand side. And you can add a sentiment to the inside if you would like, completely up to you. I am using the Greetings of the Season bundle, which is part of the suite, but you can use whatever sentiment stamps that you have for Christmas, and I'm sure we all have, you know, quite a few supplies of them anyway, so you can choose to use whatever you would like for that. This card's actually going to come together really fast. It's a very simple card showing off that beautiful vellum, some die cuts, a little bit of stamping as well. Okay, so with our basic white thick cardstock, we are going to stamp 2 of the pines, so the same as what we've done on the inside of the card. You're going to stamp in Old Olive for the more background stamp, and then for the detailed one, or solid probably is the better word for it, and then in the more detailed stamp we're going to use Mossy Meadow, and we can also use this die cut die to die cut that from as well. And I really love how, you know, that vellum has this same image, the white background, although, you know, we're using a lot of very vanilla on the card, the white background sort of gives it that snowy top edges to this stamped image as well. And then we have our little Old Olive label. We're going to use the sentiment Love and Joy, and we're stamping that in Mossy Meadow. Again, use whatever sentiment you have on hand to add to your card. Okay, so I'm going to grab my dies out here. We're going to die cut our pines as well as the bell. And I'm using the large bell for the die cut. There's actually a small one there as well. Now, I think for my main card, I actually used the small bell, and I had the measurements for the small bell. I actually wanted to use the large bell, and I was able to cut it out with that piece of gold foil, and it's all hidden underneath the pine anyway, so it doesn't matter, but I'm pretty sure I've made the foil a little bit bigger so you can cut the full length when you're creating your cards. And we're going to die cut the second pine as well. So if you are enjoying the 4 cards in this week's or this month's card class in the mail, I would love it if you let me know. Let me know what you liked about it. Let me know, you know, what maybe suite you would like to see, or stamp set coming out maybe that you'd like to use. You know, I would love to know what your preferences are. And if you are enjoying the video, please give me a thumbs up and leave me a comment here as well. Alright, so we're just going to add our very vanilla inside layer, which is 3 3/4 by 5.5 to the inside with some liquid glue. Again, you could pop a sentiment down there if you would like. I'm leaving a lot of area love and joy on the front of the card. I think that's, you know, a nice sweet card, so we're going to leave it at that. Okay, so we're going to add our layers of vellum there, and I'm actually using my die cut labels to adhere to the vellum, and then we're going to adhere the vellum to the cardstock. So I have found that the Seal Plus doesn't show through the vellum too badly, so if you just want to add your layers of vellum straight down without covering up with our little dies here, you certainly can. That's one way of doing it. You could also use your mini glue dots because they don't really show up quite so badly either. But I'm using my Seal Plus. I did struggle a little bit with my Seal Plus. This is one adhesive that I love the concept of, but I just can't seem to get it to work. Maybe you guys have got some tips for me. I'm pretty sure it's my heavy hand that is my issue. You guys know with my ink blending and, you know, all that, I have a very heavy hand, and I think that may play a part a little bit with my Seal Plus, but it's one that, you know, I'd love to be able to use a little bit more because it's nice and strong. It's a great adhesive, but yeah, I just struggle a little bit. So I'm also adding it to the back of the vellum pines, and you know, you can't see it in the card anyway. So we're going to add that over the top of the white snowy featured vellum, and then we can add our Mossy Meadow label there as well. Now it's all going to be covered up with our pines, so you don't have to worry about, you know, a little bit hanging over towards the left hand side. We will cover it all up with our pines. And of course the pines have to be popped up with some dimensionals because there has to be a little bit of dimension to the card. I don't know whether I've ever done a card without a little bit of dimension, so we're going to adhere the two pines together just with some liquid glue, then add some dimensionals to the back of that and pop it up. And then when our pine cones are popped up, we can then pop in our sentiment piece and our bell die cut underneath, and that sort of just hides all that that end pieces with the holes in the die cuts. I want to make sure that, you know, it all sits in there really nicely. Now I'm just using liquid glue for our sentiment piece. Of course you could pop it up if you would like to have that popped up. I thought we'll leave it as is because we're adding a little bit of bulk with our ribbon, so I just thought that doing it this way would work just as well. So again, our foil bell, which is that little pop of gold in the card, so nice. And then lastly, I'm going to grab probably about 4 inches of that Very Vanilla satin ribbon. It's really wide, and what we're going to do is we're going to actually cut it in half, and this is going to give me 2 layers for my little knot, or it's not a bow, it's a knot. And I think, you know, it gives it a little bit of extra bulk, makes it super pretty, and you know, it's so wide that, you know, by cutting it in half just tones down that ribbon as well. And you know, I'm just trying to show you different ways with your cards, different ways of using that wide ribbon on your cards without, you know, doing the same thing every single time. So I've used lots of dimensionals on my pine. I'm going to cover up my holes on my sentiment label and my bell and pop that in place. So cute. Now with the other die cuts, the banner cut there and the Mossy Meadow, you could also come in with some ink, maybe stamp over the top of them. You could emboss them as well. That would look really nice if you want to jazz up your card. That's certainly a couple of ways that you can do that as well. So I've got 4 inches here, and I'm just going to cut in half. It's very satiny, very slippery and slimy, so you don't have to be careful when you're cutting. But it does cut super easy. And what I'm doing is I'm putting the 2 layers together, so I've got on either end is the edge of the ribbon. So I wanted it to still look nice and neat. And then we're just going to tie it in a bow in the center, sorry, in a knot in the center, keeping it nice and flat with the centerpiece. And we're going to add that to our pines with some mini glue dots, and I think I used 2 because, you know, there is a little bit of bulk with that ribbon, so by adding two mini glue dots, it's going to keep it in place. And then we can add this card front that we've created down to our card base, and we're going to add some dimensionals to that as well. And lastly, because, you know, there's a lot of green there, I want to add just a little sparkle of red, and we're going to add the cherry cobbler berries, adhesive backed berries in the cluster. I'm going to add that to our sentiment piece, so it just gives it that little bit of red there as well. So we're sort of using both the red and the white. My tip for you with those embellishments is make sure you use the clusters together for your Christmas projects, because the single ones of the clear or pearly sort of colour and the cherry cobbler, you can use them on other cards, but it's going to look a little bit funny with berries on cards outside of Christmas. Okay, let's grab our backings off. Again, lots of dimensionals on the card. You don't want it to, you know, sag and look very sad going through the mail, so, you know, I tend to use enough dimensionals that we don't have any issues with that. And this is card number 2 for Card Class in the Mail for this month. I really hope that you're enjoying this series of cards. There are 4 in all, so we've still got a couple more to go. Let me know if you're enjoying the class. Okie dokie, there we have it. Alright everyone, have an amazing day, and I'll see you all for card number 3 really soon. Alright everyone, bye bye.